Well, there you have it. Another episode of Monday Night Raw in the books. My name is Jose Ramos Jr. Thank you guys for joining me on this post-show reaction. Just got done with the main event, right? Sami Zayn challenging the new Intercontinental Champion, Bron Breakker. It would be his first title defense since winning at SummerSlam, defeating Sami Zayn for that very title. Now, this would be the third match of the two competing against one another. The first being at Money in the Bank, the second being at SummerSlam, and now the rubber match here on Monday Night Raw. The most interesting aspect of it all, though, was that they implemented a 2 out of 3 falls stipulation. Overall, I thought it was a match that certainly was a PLE worthy of a match. This had everything you needed: athleticism, a little bit of drama, great storytelling within the match. We saw Sami Zayn get the first fall, adding to that level of emotion that, hey, he is only one more pinfall or submission away from regaining that championship after only losing it last week at SummerSlam. Bron Breakker, though, proved to be too much of a test for Sami Zayn, certainly with that finishing spot when Sami Zayn is on the top rope and is looking to, hit Bron Breakker with an aerial attack, and Bron Breakker reverses it. He counters it with a spear of his own to get the victory, successfully defending the championship. He's now 1-0 when it comes to his title defenses. And now we look forward to what Sami Zayn and Bron Breakker do on their own. Bron Breakker, I'm anticipating, probably going to have like a long-term Intercontinental Championship reign. I don't think it's going to be like Gunther, where he held it for 666 days. But I do see him finishing out the year with this championship. I think they're going to find a way to build him up as a champion, an unstoppable force, until he meets someone, maybe even like a Sheamus, who can defeat Bron Breakker, maybe even get the Grand Slam title that he's been looking for the past few years, ever since Gunther won the Intercontinental Championship. What I really do find interesting, though, is Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn obviously had a little encounter with friend Jey Uso prior to the match, and how they hinted at targeting the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and JD McDonough for the tag titles. I would love to see these two as a tag team. Whether they win the tag team titles or not would be, hearsay. But to see those two together just always puts a smile on my face. I'm always left in a better mood when I see Sami and Jey together, given all the history that they've been through, whether it was the Bloodline, whether it was after that, and we led into the WrestleMania 39 build-up or the WrestleMania 40 build-up. Seeing those two together just always warms my heart. They are two of the top baby faces, not only on Monday Night Raw, but on WWE TV. So to see how we do that interaction with them in the Judgment Day will be interesting. I also think maybe this will lead into maybe some interaction between Jey Uso and Rhea Ripley. We've had little hints of that here and there, and to see those two, being Jey and Sami, team up with potentially Damian and Rhea to take on the likes of Finn, Dom, Carlito, and Liv Morgan. Whether or not that comes into fruition, you could interject Carlito and JD probably into that situation. But whether or not, I think it's going to be very interesting. I like the idea of faction warfare. I love seeing two groups, whether they are a unit like the Judgment Day, or whether they are a group of individuals like the Jey, Sami, and the Terror Twins combination. But nonetheless, this Monday Night Raw wasn't just focusing on the main event. We also got a little bit more of developments in terms of the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley opens up the show, voicing her displeasure with Dominic Mysterio, who eventually kind of led into an altercation with Damian Priest. We had a little bit of a fight throughout the arena. This led into the matchup between Carlito and Damian Priest. And Damian Priest, man, I can't, I don't get enough of having the opportunity to praise Damian Priest. Ever since his world title reign, how it evolved into the babyface that he is now, I'm so happy with what they're doing with him. I hope to see him continue building up this momentum all the way to Bash in Berlin, which is announced. We have a mixed tag team match coming up. Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan taking on the Terror Twins, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. I'm interested to see where they go this direction, right? Are we going to have the heels win off the bat to get this storyline going? Or are we going to have Damian and Rhea win the first match? If you ask me, I think we're going to go with the heels just to prolong this program. If you have the babyfaces win on the first try, it really concludes the story. It's the same reason why they had CM Punk lose to Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. Once you have the good guy go over, it's like, what are we doing, right? But nonetheless, speaking of groups, we also had the New Day teasing a little bit of tension. This is something I haven't really covered that much on the channel, but given that they're providing a little bit more context, a little bit more focus on the whole Odyssey Jones aspect of it all, I have to talk about it. The New Day has been a staple of the tag team division since 2015, right? When they won the tag titles, they held it and broke the record for Demolition in terms of longest tag team title reigns, a record that would be broken by the Usos later. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, two guys who a lot of people would consider brothers, right? They're fighting alongside one another, and we had hints that Karrion Kross was saying that he was going to find a way to break up the New Day, although it wouldn't be directly through Karrion Kross. Rather, Kofi Kingston last week introduces Odyssey Jones to the fold. Now, it's very apparent through the body language of Xavier Woods that this wasn't something that was discussed. And me personally, if I'm looking at it, it's like they're trying to add a new member to the New Day. You can't replace Big E. That's obvious. You're never going to be able to replace Big E. That's the first layer. With the second layer, I think it goes into that level of trust that Xavier and Kofi have developed. You didn't consult me about bringing him. It would have been nice to have been, informed regarding this, but it's almost as if Kofi's not listening to Xavier. He has this body language, the tone in his voice, his inflections, his eyes. All this is, demonstrating how uncomfortable he is with the situation, but also that level of trust that I feel that Xavier feels has been broken. Will it lead to a full heel turn on Xavier? I don't know. That would be really cool to see something different. I want to see the New Day break up though. I really don't. But every now and then you have to interject a little bit of new life into a story, and this is probably the best way to do it. Kofi Kingston as the baby face who unwillingly led to the demise of the New Day, and Xavier Woods trying to break away, because if you look at the New Day as it was constructed, Big E and Kofi have won WWE Championship gold. Xavier Woods is the only one to not have won singles gold. He's been a tag team champion with the New Day multiple times over, a former King of the Ring. But, I mean, to be honest, I don't think he's ever going to win the WWE Championship or a world title, at least not at this point in his career. But having the opportunity to betray Kofi Kingston, or in this instance, you could argue that Xavier Woods feels like he was betrayed by Kofi Kingston. And that in itself is very interesting. I like that aspect of when a heel believes what they're doing is right. And you want to talk about heels, look at Big Bronson Reed. Big Bronson Reed, 2 weeks in a row, attacks a beloved member of the roster. Last week was Seth Rollins. This week was R-Truth. 6 tsunamis on top of R-Truth. Probably going to see a little bit less of R-Truth moving forward. Probably going to appear that he has some kind of internal injuries. And Adam Pearce was about to blow a gasket by the reaction that he had to Bronson Reed's attack. We know that he has a couple of fines lined up against him. Is there going to be a suspension potentially? I don't know, but Adam Pearce has a lot to deal with on Monday Night Raw between the Drew McIntyre situation and CM Punk, Big Bronson Reed, the Wyatt Six. A lot going on and a lot to get a handle on. You look at Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker was another one, and it seems to have kind of fizzled out. He got that figured out because he finally got some championship gold. But Monday Night Raw, man, is a mess in all the best ways. I did mention Drew McIntyre, and clearly, that story with CM Punk is far from over. They've been struggling to get CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, in a secluded area in the ring, one-on-one. Drew McIntyre has successfully evaded CM Punk. He was able to get his hands on Drew, though, this week. And we saw the instances where Drew had his belt. He was starting to whip CM Punk, but then afterwards CM Punk gets the belt and whips Drew McIntyre. And if you paid attention to the segment after that, where CM Punk has the belt of Drew McIntyre, I think it is very clear what we're moving forward to. I think the next stipulation, the natural progression in this story, CM Punk wants to get his hands on Drew McIntyre. He wants to beat Drew McIntyre. And how do you do both in one match? Well, it's simple. I think we're going to get a good old fashioned strap match. You're going to have the two opponents, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, attached to each end of an individual strap. That way, one cannot outrun the other. And I think that potentially might be the match at Bash in Berlin. It's very ironic, though, because CM Punk, one of his most notable matches in his AEW run was the dog collar match against MJF. I'm not saying it's going to be as bloody or as brutal as that, but I just find it very ironic. And also, given that we had a bull rope match on AEW Collision this past week with Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa, again, a very topical matchup at the moment. But I think that's probably where we're going to go. I think CM Punk gets that victory. Then it'll lead to probably a Ripper match, a third match, maybe at Hell in a Cell, maybe inside the Hell in a Cell. I think it makes perfect sense, but I want to know what you guys thought about this episode of Monday Night Raw. Just a real brief reaction to Monday Night Raw. Overall, again, I thought it was like a bridge episode. We had the fallout of SummerSlam last week. This one was kind of bridging into the moving storylines on our way to Bash in Berlin and the fall. But of course, I want to know what you guys thought. Go ahead and remember to like, comment down below. What's your favorite ongoing storyline? What are your thoughts about the state of Monday Night Raw? And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel in order to keep up to date with all the pro wrestling content that is produced here. And with that being said, of course, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you all in the next one.